Everybody knows spaghetti and meatballs. It's a dish we grew up on. It's something we order when we go out and we don't really know what we want. Most versions are pretty okay. But today, we're going to make one that not just is okay, but one that'll stop the table. So, we're going to make stuffed meatballs. This may not be grandma's spaghetti and meatballs, but it's a good one. Now, hit my music and let's go. If you're new here, welcome. This is what we do. Real food made in a fun way. Hit that subscribe button because you do not want to miss what's next. So we're going to start with the sauce. We're going to saute some garlic, some onions, and a little bit of carrot for the sweetness to cut some of the acidity of the tomato. In Italian cooking, you always want to start with the sauce because that's the foundation. You build on everything from there. Once we get them sauteed up, as you see, we're going to add a little bit of white wine is added. And then we're going to deglaze that and let that reduce just a little bit. Then we're going to get our tomatoes, which we're using the San Marzano tomatoes. I hope I said that right. And they just have a better sweetness to them. Find the imported ones. They're the best ones for the price. We bring in the whole peeled and we crush them by hand. It just gives you a better texture. Then we want to add our seasonings to that. And we're using some dried herbs because this sauce is going to cook for a while. The longer it cooks, the better dry herbs are because fresh herbs can start getting a little bit bitter when they're cooked for over like about 5 minutes, 15 minutes. In that general area. So anything longer than that, then dry herbs are much better. And we're just using a plain Italian seasoning here. I also like to add a little bit of onion powder and a little bit of garlic powder. I think it just kind of helps intensify that flavor just a little bit more. And then we're going to cook this down so that way we can use it for 2 ways. 1, we're going to coat our pasta with it. And 2, we're actually going to cook our meatballs in this sauce. Now we want to add some salt, as always, pepper, a little bit of the light side of the force with our salt, and a little bit of the dark side with the pepper. And we're just going to let that cook. Now, let's get on to our meatballs. Our meatballs are a combination of Italian sausage, I use the mild, and regular ground beef. Then you have to add your eggs and some breadcrumbs and some seasoning. Once we get our meat mixture together, we're going to take that and we're going to put the mozzarella inside that. As I told you, we're doing stuffed. Wasn't kidding. And we're going to roll up all of our meatballs. This may not be your grandma's meatballs, but there's a good one. You want to make sure you get all of your meatballs rolled before you move on to the next step, because once you start browning them, you don't want to stop. Now we're going to heat up our pan so that we can brown off our meatballs. When you brown the meatballs, it's going to give it that Maillard reaction, which is going to add that browning, the caramelization, which gives you that really meat flavor. All right, now that our pot is hot, and you can tell that by the way the oil is running there, we're going to take our meatballs, we're going to put them in. Try not to crowd your pan the best you can. We got a lot of big balls here, so it's a little bit harder. That's okay, so we still have some space in between them. If you can see that here. Now, as they're cooking, you'll be able to see that as we turn here, we jiggle a little bit, and then you can see a move that means that they're probably ready to turn. See how they're moving from the pan? That's telling us they're ready. That bound crust, that's flavor, and it keeps the meatball together when it goes into the sauce. Skip this step and they'll fall apart. Do this step and you get something beautiful. We're not cooking them through here, just building the crust. They'll finish cooking when we add the sauce. That's where they get their majority of their flavor, and that's when the magic happens. So let's get them all flipped over here. And we'll brown them on the other side. And they're just about ready. Now, here's the move that makes the dish. We start to split the sauce. Half of it is going to go in the meatballs, and the other half is going to continue cooking by itself, so that way it continues to thicken up. We're using the sauce as a braising liquid, which is just going to add so much flavor to the meatballs and make them nicer than what they were before. Oh yeah, look at that beautiful sauce. It's going to add so much flavor. I wish you could smell this right now. Don't worry about that little splatter on my stove, it cleans up. Once we get this in here, we're going to cover it up and we're going to let them cook. And just braise in that beautiful sauce. Turn it down a little bit so we don't end up burning. Now look, you can see the sauce has thickened up some, and that's just absolutely beautiful. If we need to thin it out, we can use some of the pasta water. Remember, we have a giveaway. We're going to give away a custom-made chef knife when we reach 1,000 subscribers. So get all your friends to subscribe. Let's taste our sauce to make sure it's the right flavor. If we need to adjust any seasonings, it's perfect. Now let's get on to our pasta. But first, check out these balls. Don't they look beautiful? Now, we're using a dry pasta here. It works well. Maybe in a later episode we'll do some fresh pasta. Before now, we're just going to use some dried. We have our pasta water going. We've salted it. You want it to taste kind of like the sea. Please don't put your oil in there. When you put oil in there, you're just throwing your oil away because the pasta is down on the bottom. The oil is on top. They never get mixed, so don't do that. Now we're going to add our pasta to our sauce. Our pasta is right about al dente. We want to let it finish in the sauce. That's a little trick for you. It just adds more flavor to your pasta. And the starch in the pasta will actually help with thickening up the sauce a little bit. Mix it around, get it all tossed nicely, and then let that sit in there for just a little bit, and then we'll plate it up. So if you like this recipe, please subscribe, share with your friends, And let's get ourselves built up to that 1,000 subscribers so we can give that knife away. And here's a picture of the rendition of the knife. And remember, God doesn't judge your cooking, and neither do I. See you next time.